it's not. There we go. Going. Let's see. I believe we are live.
It says waiting for.
Yeah, I see you.
Okay. Why do I hear myself?
It says waiting for. Okay, there we go. Autoplay. Wait.
I see you.
Why do I hear myself? How's it sound on YouTube?
Okay, there we go. Sounds like Charlie Brown.
Does it? Yeah, why do I hear myself? Damn it. Okay. Let's see what to do this here.
Yeah, I mean, I could hear you before on YouTube, of course, with the delay, you know.
Okay. It was just weird I could hear myself.
Yeah, I mean, I could hear you before.
See, now I can hear you for some reason.
We should start this earlier.
Just wondering if it's because.
Yeah, I mean, I could hear you before.
Testing, now I can hear you. Testing 1 2 1 2.
Yep, you're there.
Okay. I hear me. Everybody hears me. I can hear all of you. Welcome. How do we sound?
I hear you fine.
How do we sound? See, I hear myself.
Okay, now you're muffled.
I hear everything just fine. Yeah, I mean, it sounds just clear on my end.
It's just weird. I can hear myself in a delay or something. Test 1 2 1 2 1 2. Testing 1 2 and 3. We will begin here shortly. Just verifying.
Mary says that she can hear all of us just fine.
Just fine. Okay.
Thank you, Mary.
Okay. Alright, as long as it's coming through YouTube, fine. See, now I hear myself. I'm on YouTube.
Well, you're gonna have, don't you have to mute your YouTube to turn your sound off because you're gonna hear the delay.
I thought I did though. It looks like it's off.
Oh, okay.
See, I'm looking at it here. What happens if?
Yeah, because I don't hear an echo or anything. I hear just you talking. Well, I've muted YouTube as well, but yeah, I only hear you.
Okay, so just testing to see my audio.
Did we lose you, Greg?
I'm still here.
Okay.
Okay, I'm just gonna run with it. As long as everything is okay in YouTube, as long as anyone in YouTube is not hearing a delay or anything like that, I think we're good to go. So please, if you are, please let me know. Or else, here we are. How's everybody doing?
Tired.
Cool. Glad to hear it. Stay tired. It's gonna be, yeah, pretty interesting. Interesting thing here. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and start. Thanks to everybody who has joined us, everybody in our chat, and everyone that is watching this on the replay. Everybody around the whole world. I know this is a different time zone, so we can never, there's no way we're ever going to match it up where everybody's time zones kind of match, but we're going to do the best that we possibly can. So this is late for the USA and very, very early for our UK listeners, and I know we have a lot of UK listeners. UK is number 2, Australia is number 3, and then there's just a ton of other places that kind of, Canada too. So, Canada. I know we have a lot of great people there. So, tonight we are going to be talking about the Ballad of Tony Floyd. Now, if you don't know who Tony Floyd is, that's exactly what we're going to talk about. And how does Tony Floyd relate to the David Crowley case and the accusations against David Crowley? And if you want to go directly to the website that we're going to reference, just go to crowleyfamilydeaths.neocities.org. Lots of documents, lots of things that we found there. A couple days ago, Tony posted into the Justice for David Crowley and Family Facebook group, and that's what we're going to be talking about tonight. Obviously, one of the first things at the very top, he wants to make sure to stop playing detective, which is a very good quote, so I wanted to add that in here as well. And this is what he posted. I believe it was Monday, if I remember correctly. This past Monday, he posted the link and he said, "File dump of public records as people like to play games and get territorial. I don't support your cause." So at first I was a little confused about what this was, what I was looking at here, so I was very confused about this whole thing. Now, Tony Floyd had joined the group maybe a couple,
a day
it
was a day before.
Was it? Yeah, and he had created, this is a fake account, obviously. This was created like about maybe 8 minutes before he tried to join the group. So usually I don't do that. Usually I'll kind of, I'm a little skeptical, but I figured, no, let's see where this goes. And I'm glad I did.
Mm-hmm.
Because this is what we got here. So this is also, go ahead.
I'd like to say something.
Yeah.
For the record. I'd like to thank Tony for this website. It's eye-opening, to say the least.
Mm-hmm.
I also want to say that we, admins and myself, received everything except for the ME photographs. We received it all a couple weeks ago, and we were releasing it a little bit at a time. And I know that we were redacting some things from the journal that Apple Valley had overlooked. And that's the only reason why we hadn't released it yet to the group. But we already had most of this stuff, and we're still waiting for even more records, like over 7,000 pages worth.
Wow.
So, and when that comes in, that will be available to the group once we go through it and make sure sensitive material like addresses and certain phone numbers are redacted, and sensitive in the nature of personal. Is that the right word to use for this? Intimate.
Intimate
stuff is redacted. There we go, intimate.
And I know you and Catherine have a different view on that than I do. Catherine, any thoughts on
that? Yeah, I mean, I am probably the farthest thing you will find from a prude, but what was in there, because it was so personal, and I mean, what goes on between a husband and wife is nobody's damn business, and not even my own. And so that stuff, I just don't. It added nothing to the real context of what David was saying and the parts that mattered. So what they did, how they did it, all that's, it's none of our business, and that really, it should remain private. And again, because how many of us want prying eyes, in your bedrooms? And that's pretty much what's going on. You might as well just open up, your entire house and do whatever it is you do with windows wide open and everybody can stare in. And I don't think anybody wants that. So yeah, I would never be okay with releasing those intimate details. I just never will.
And I know that we had debated within ourselves about releasing the journal itself because it is so highly personable. But we knew that real researchers who care about this case would want to know certain information in regards to what David wrote. I can tell you right now, it doesn't show him spiraling into darkness like the documentary says or all the news articles says. He's writing about deeply personal things. And if I ever kept a diary, I wouldn't want it plastered everywhere. So I feel very conflicted about having this put out. It does help, but I feel very conflicted about it. Yes,
Yeah.
Derek, we received these by FOIA request.
Who do you think did a better job at redacting? Tony or the AVPD?
Tony. Without a doubt, it was Tony.
And that's why we didn't post the one that we received to the group, because we weren't done redacting, and Tony's is redacted, so we were like, okay, well, we'll just let the one that's on his website be available to everybody. So
Yep, and that website.
we had wanted to redact the addresses, like the GPS stuff, and like I said, a few things, intimate details that Apple Valley had overlooked by accident. And so those were the things that we were still trying to get taken care of. But we had released the internet searches, and that was really helpful because that also showed that David was not Googling the things that Lisa Hendricks said that he was Googling.
Oh, yeah. And that's why I think, when we get to that point where the journal actually is going to set a lot of things straight, and it shows, just the amount of lies that were told by the Gray State guys. And David explains in his own words what he did, why he did it. And like you said, it wasn't a spiral into depression and all that garbage that you hear from everybody else. But, again, I can't stress this enough. I think anybody who puts the personal stuff online needs to have their personal issues and their intimate details and everything photographed, videotaped, recorded, and then stuck online. Because then how would, that, yeah. I feel strongly about it. I guess that's enough to be said.
That's great.
I mean, he was conflicted in a lot of ways, and he struggled. But what person doesn't?
Exactly.
And what person isn't conflicted about certain things?
Yeah.
But this is being used against him in the worst way. I mean, they have totally flipped this around and said, okay, this is what proves his guilt. No, it doesn't. It just proves he's human.
Yep.
So, okay.
That website.
Shall we get on with the website?
Yeah, that website. Anybody can go there. Go to crowleyfamilydeaths.neocities.org. So I got the link up here, and that's what we're going to go over here. But everybody can go there and check it out for themselves. I don't think there's any malware or anything like that on this website. So we were able to download all of this stuff. So if you're not comfortable downloading it there, we will have it to where you can download it in other places. But because Tony put this out, please think about downloading it there. Hey Defro, I want to say hey to Derek, and I want to say hey to Mary as well, and everybody else in the chat. Defro says Tony Floyd, my hero. Shout out Tony Floyd. Yeah, yep. I was thinking that too. Defro, I was thinking the exact same thing. I was like, okay, first it was Red Ron. He was my hero. Then it was a soldier who served with David named Mac. He was my second hero. And then we have Tony Floyd here. So all different, all talking about different thing, different data and stuff. But it really shows how deep that this goes, regardless of your view on David Crowley. And we're going to see how different Tony's view is from the Justice for David Crowley and Family Facebook group. This guy is a class act. Whoever this person is a class act. And I don't know. Go ahead.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but I wanted to echo what Sophia was saying and what you just said. Even though Tony is on the opposite end of the spectrum of this from us, it takes someone of class and someone with some ethics to be able to say, you know what, I don't agree with your stance, and in fact, I will vehemently disagree. However, everyone should have the same information. So that truly is a rarity these days. So thank you so much, Tony.
Yeah, and I mean, why hide information?
Right.
If these people actually believe that this information proved David guilty, why not put it out there to shut us up? But instead, they greedily held on to it.
Yep.
Like even to the point where they watermarked information and said that they owned the rights to these.
Yeah, which you can't even legally do. That is against the law what they did.
Wow.
And that they're they are treading a fine line. You can't take a photograph from someone else's work. Especially the BCA, right? This is their work, and then put your watermark on it. That is actually illegal.
So, I mean, anyway,
Yeah.
If they had really wanted to prove David's guilt, and they thought for 100% that this proved his guilt, they would have shown it to everybody to shut us up. But instead, no, they wanted the drama.
It's the secret
anyway,
knowledge, huh?
The information's here now, and we're going to go over it with you guys.
Yep.
So, Greg?
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of the secret knowledge, or we have the data, but you can't have it. I've never really been a fan of that. Those carrots have been dangled before us since the case really first started, and it's sad that some people actually fell for it and took it, and then just kind of sat on it. I don't know how long this information has been sat on. It sounds like a very long time, and that is not good. That's not cool, and that is probably the most frustrating thing with me. That's my real big beef, is how long this information was sat on, and why we're going to talk about this too. Why only certain, Derek brought it up too, why only certain people are getting certain data. That is not cool either, right? Because the Apple Valley police, and they know this, that's why they're being pretty quiet right now. They know that they cannot pick and choose what type of data that they get. So, I don't know I don't know if you two have reached out to the Apple Valley. You're definitely free to talk about whatever you want to talk about there. But when I reached out to them, and I'm still expecting some more data, I wanted to make sure that what they're seeing here, what I'm seeing here, what we're going to talk about, should be included in the data that we're still waiting for. So let's hope it is. It should be, or else there's some legal problems there. There's some, not only fairness, whatever you want to say, but again, it's like, You either give it, it's either public or it's not, but you don't get to say who gets it and who doesn't get it. That's just not how those statutes work, and I think even Tony covers that. So then a few days later, this was yesterday, Tony Floyd wanted to correct, so he posted in the group for a second. I think he's only posted twice here in the group so far that I've seen. And so what he posted yesterday, to clear some things up, I don't agree with this group's theorization of what happened. I originally sided with facts versus fiction because of aligned beliefs, even regarding the disclosure of materials and lack thereof. After dealing with their lies, he's talking about the facts versus fiction. After dealing with their lies, exclusion, and patronizing tones, I eventually got sick of them and have published these materials as I disagree with their hypocritical attempt at a virtue signaling, especially, I lost my train of thought.
Virtue signaling monopoly,
Virtue
especially
signaling
after
monopoly.
receiving threats and attempts at slander.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
Attempts at slander. Okay, here we go. This is a gross oversimplification, but I doubt anyone cares much. If the blame is to fall on anyone, it was their responsibility to not start a game of chicken with the release of materials under quote-unquote my name. Lots of stuff to cover here. What do you guys think about all of this?
He's very frustrated, and I see it as a man. I'm assuming it's a man who, you know what, they pushed him too far, and he's like, you know what, you don't own me, and I'm not going to hide this because this is what I feel everybody should see. And so he just said, up yours, I'm doing it. And then, you know, he did it.
I have to admire him because he's actually calling them out for who they really are. I mean, these people, they will slander you. They will threaten you. They will threaten your family.
Yep.
You know, and they feel that they have the right to do that because we are looking into this case.
Do you think the family has told them to do that, to do those things?
They claim that they are protecting the family.
By
I
slandering
don't know
us?
if the family has asked them to do it or not. And honestly, they're liars. And even Tony will say that they are liars. And the fact that they claim that you and Dan hide evidence of David's guilt, but in reality, they're the ones who are hiding evidence from other people. I mean, how hypocritical is that? That is their one reason for why they don't like you or Dan, and why they turn other people against you guys, is because they're saying that you and Dan have evidence. And I know for a fact that this is not true, because I have been submitting FOIAs to Apple Valley, to the BCA, to the Sheriff's Department there in Dakota County. And everything that I have received back does not show guilt for David. And there is nothing that we have hidden from the group. We have posted everything once we've gone through and removed sensitive information. So it's complete and utter BS, and it's a tactic that they're using to turn people against the justice group. It's a very shady tactic.
And it's not working. Let's be honest. It's not working. It's only helping us. just like Eric Nelson.
Can I also I wanted to say that you know, yes, we did receive a lot of this information about a week or so ago, maybe a little bit longer. But again, we weren't holding on to it because we don't want to share it. We are holding on to it to make sure that nothing inappropriate gets out. Anything and everything that is absolutely pertinent to the case needs to stay in, but we're not trying to hide information. We're just trying to redact the stuff that didn't quite get redacted very well from the police department. Now, if they're redacting it, that means they don't want anybody to see it. Unfortunately, we could still see some of it, so and there's the difference. We don't, as far as I know, our group is not about hiding information. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you. This data, I just received the documents here personally. I just received them a couple days ago. Yeah, maybe yesterday, Wednesday, whenever
Yesterday
Wednesday.
you
I don't
did.
know what day it is, but I'll be honest with you. If I would have received it first, I probably would have just put it out the way it is, with everything the way it is, and maybe I would have regretted that 2 days later, 4 days later. I mean, who knows? I don't know, but um, it's not. I don't want to withhold any information. There's no need to withhold anything. If people don't have it, if I haven't put it out there, it's because I don't have it yet. What I get, I usually just want to just put it out there.
And I guess that's where you and I kind of split hairs, because if it's not, for me, it's not withholding information. It was redacted, but it was poorly redacted. And just because it was poorly redacted doesn't mean I should go and let out another person's mistakes. So we're not asking, and I've never, we've gone back and forth over this. I'm never advocating redacting what was not originally redacted by the police department. Again, they just failed to do a good job at it. So we're taking out what they should have taken out and covered up better anyway. That's not the same thing as withholding.
True.
Yeah, and this is just intimate details that we were trying to redact to. It was and the addresses or GPS locations.
Yeah.
Only to protect certain people and to, I guess, not put embarrassing stuff out there for the internet to read. I mean, it's really not the internet's business.
I mean, it gets.
I don't want anybody ever reading about that.
I know it's a really tough one, because obviously, I was on a different side about the whole the one photo that we had of those bodies, and that was a big issue then, because I was not for releasing that. But at the same time, if I knew somebody else had it and they're just holding it, I can see the other side of it, and I can see how that would bother people to hold things. So I have no interest in withholding anything. I've never withheld anything except for that one photo there. But we've never, we don't. I'll say this again, and I want people to know it's a fair question to ask me, and I know many people have, and there's nothing wrong with asking those questions. If you ask me anything, I'm going to tell you my view. I'm going to give you my thoughts. There's no games. You're not going to get any games here. I'm going to give you my direct thoughts. As long as you're honest, as long as you do it, just in a regular human way. Hey, Greg, do you really think that David is guilty? And I will keep saying this. I do not believe that he's guilty. 100%. I believe there is no evidence to back up the theory that David Crowley is guilty. I know Dan Hennon feels the exact same way. We do not have any evidence. We have not seen anything to lead us to believe that David Crowley is guilty. We're looking for it. We've been looking for it. It is not there. It is simply not there. The Apple Valley Police, the BCA, they've told us we've given you everything. Obviously, here we have another case where that is not true. Okay, so unless they're withholding something from us, the smoking gun that will show us David Crowley is guilty, it does not exist. I just want to say that one more time. 100%, I believe David Crowley is not guilty, based on the evidence, based on the facts, not based on the fiction. The stuff that has been told about us is fiction. If someone was using David's Day One journal to say that this proves he's guilty, that is 100% fiction. Anyone that believes David Crowley is guilty and says that they have the evidence, that is 100% fiction. The police are very clear that everything that they have, everything shows that they could not find any motive and no reason why David Crowley is guilty. That's why the million dollar question has always been the same. Well, what does prove him guilty? Fiction. Fiction. So
yeah, they came up with their answer because they couldn't come up with a different answer. I mean, with what we've been presented, there's not even circumstantial evidence that he did it. They have nothing.
Right.
So it would never stand up in a court of law. They couldn't even, get him arrested. So, but because he wasn't here and there wasn't a person to charged with this crime, then they were forced by law to close it. What was that term you used, Greg? Exceptionally clear. That's it. So to exceptionally clear something is when you have nobody that around that you think they did it, but they're not here. So in order to close it, it's quote unquote exceptionally cleared. Well, that's not okay with me. That's not good enough. They always say that if you see the document, you'll understand. Well, the more I see, the more I'm like going, nope, not getting it.
I know that each of us read the journal individually, and each of us all commented that it did not prove guilt.
No.
No, I
and
think
the same thing with the searches. Before we even had posted them that night, we all had gone through it, and each one of us said, nope, this doesn't prove guilt either. So, I don't know why this information, why they hold on to it, Apple Valley, for as long as they did, because...
Well, we don't know when Tony got this information, right? But we know that he's been sitting on it. We know that this fiction group has it, but yet they're saying that Dan and I are withholding stuff. But here we have the real facts that show that they're actually the ones who have been withholding stuff from the people. You don't withhold stuff if it, like you said, you don't withhold stuff if it will help your case. Because all that we want to do, is either say, look, if there's something that proves David Crowley guilty, show us so that we can, like Dan said, close down the whole group, move on to other things. That's not it. That is not what's happening. What is happening, like you said, are the same thing that's happened to Tony. It's probably happened to many people here. And it's just pointless because it didn't stop Tony. It's not going to stop us. It is only going to make them look foolish, and it's going to come back and bite all of them. Anyone who is playing games, anyone who is doing the things that you're doing to Tony, you will pay. God sees everything. You are not going to get any further away from that. Justice will come to you too. There's no reason to play games. There's no reason to slander. There's no reason to do all of these things that you're going to see that happen to Tony here. And it's just dumb. So, it's whatever. The thing. Go ahead.
I was just wondering if you had wanted to move on to the next
slide,
because I think that explains a little bit more about what Tony is trying to prove.
Okay, so this was added to Tony's website. So if you go to the website, he has added some things there, and he makes it clear that he does not support our group. He does not support a gray stage, which is me, apparently. He does, or any other representatives who claim David Crowley was not the perpetrator of this crime. He has viewed many of their videos, read the Gray State, read my book, looked at all of the documents, and has viewed everything, and he still believes David Crowley is guilty. Okay? Through this, I've come to the same unbiased conclusion as the AVPD MNBCA, and other agencies involved in the investigation that David Crowley murdered his family before killing himself. Context. I see the name coward. Now, this I'm not sure exactly if he's talking about us. I don't think we've called him cowards, attention seekers. I don't know who he's talking about.
No, that was the other group. I believe it was either Louise or Joe that called him a coward. I think it was Louise.
He's a coward for releasing the data to the public, data that the public should have had 6 years ago. He's like what Defro says. He is a hero. He's not a coward. Definitely not a coward. No. And attention seeker. If he wanted to seek attention, he could have done this at any time, and he could also say whoever he was to get the attention to him. And evil for being thrown around. Okay, so that's not directed towards us or anything. It's just. I mean, I was just baffled by that, by some of the allegations that were tossed to him.
Yeah. These 3 points, he is discussing the other group. He is calling them out for what they have been posting about him since you posted the website and the group.
Okay.
That's when they found out about it, is when you posted it in the group. And they got livid, threw a temper tantrum, and this is his comeback to them. Or, excuse me, his clap back to them.
Who's clap back?
Hey, William.
Hey, William.
Tony.
Hello.
Hello.
Oh, okay. Hello.
We're just talking about what's happening between Tony Floyd and the fiction group.
Those jokes. Yeah, my fans.
Your fan club.
All of us.
Oh man, yeah, those guys are hilarious. They're, I mean, it's so ridiculous. They're just.
What do you think about all
frustrating.
This? What are your thoughts on this?
What do I think about it?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the fact that they're claiming they own the image, that right there is a huge red flag. I don't like that. I mean, I don't think they can claim ownership, for one, but
no.
But for two, the fact that like they want to go and prove us wrong, right? Well, then why would they withhold anything? You know, I mean, the thing is, I think they withheld this because, from what I can see, this proves our point even further. So, I mean, from the clothes, then you've also got the photo of the gun. I mean, all this has already proven our point a little bit further. So, I mean, the fact, like I said, they withheld that, I think that's just mainly because they knew they're wrong. And they're trying to go and keep everybody basically in the dark and just let everybody think that we're wrong. But when they come over and they see what we have to go and offer, you know, what we explain, and then on top of that, then they get to see this now. It's just, everybody can see it for what it is. And AVPD obviously they made a terrible call here. And the fact that also that photo, as you guys probably already seen, well, I think, of course you guys already seen it, you know, obviously somebody took it with a cell phone. That was not done with a camera, like one that you would see crime scene investigation use. They would be using a DSLR, hands down, just because that's going to give you the clearest possible photo. You know, but I mean, you can definitely see there's graininess there, which, I mean, I like I said, I can't blame anybody for thinking it's Photoshopped to some degree, but once again, you know, I enhanced it to show it's not. It's absolutely not Photoshopped. Because if it was Photoshopped, you'd see that the grain would be way off. So I don't care how good somebody's at Photoshopping. There's no way they're getting that level of grain like that to replicate that perfectly. So.
Well, you can if you fix it, you Photoshop it, and then you take a photo of the Photoshopped photo. There are ways to go about that. I've done it, but you know, however,
I would like I said, I would love to see somebody do it. I am 110% they cannot perfectly replicate it.
But the whole thing is though is that like how I guess I want to know, how do you know Did you look at the metadata? Is there any metadata to see on how that photo was taken and with what it was taken?
Oh, like I said, I only looked at it from the Photoshop aspect, and I didn't get a chance to look at the metadata. I've been kind of like running around with like a chicken with his head cut off all day.
Yeah.
Join the club,
but,
William.
But I did, like I said, I looked at it through Photoshop, but I'm assuming it is, like I said, it does appear that it was done with a flip phone.
Wow. So maybe somebody
because
took
once again, it like I said, it had to have been a flip phone, because if you look at smartphones, their cameras they're way better than that. That was not done with a smartphone.
Well, did they have smartphones back in 2014? I know it sounds like a stupid question, but I don't know. Okay.
Oh yeah, no, they totally did.
I think there is a photo in either the Apple Valley PD or the BCA that shows one of the detectives with a flip phone.
Mm-hmm.
So.
And I mean, the thing is, this is the other thing. I'm not sure if you guys have talked about this yet, but really, this had to have been done. I mean, I think I already posted it. Maybe it was on the infographic, but this had to have been done by one of the officers who entered and cleared the house, because they would have picked the gun up and everything. That would have been done in clearing the house.
Well, could it have also been someone who legally or illegally had access to a crime scene photo, was able to see the photo and snap the real crime scene photo image with their phone?
You mean like somebody got into the crime scene and used their phone to take a picture?
No, like somebody was shown crime scene photos, a friend, an alleged friend, and they were able to just pull out their camera, pull out their phone, and snap a photo of it.
I don't believe so. There would be, like I said, I'm going to be doing some tests this weekend, just to go and double check, able to actually get a hold of a flip phone. So I'm going to go and see if I can actually go and run some tests with that. So I don't believe so, because once again, there would be things like gloss. If they're taking a picture, let's say on another phone, on a computer, something like this, there would be some glare to it. You definitely see some, like, for instance, if you guys have seen the pictures, I take a picture when I'm working on my tablet. I'll just take a picture of what's on my tablet, right? Or monitor, graphics monitor, whatever you want to call it. And you'll definitely see there's like some lines coming down. That's all just, I mean, that's standard when you got like electronics and stuff. You're taking pictures of, you're going to see that kind of stuff. And there was nothing like that. This is just pure grain, which, like I said, that tells me, A, there was bad lighting, which once again, we know there wasn't great lighting in there. You know, they didn't do anything, to lighting so that way they could see everything clearly. On top of that, this had to have been done with a really cheap camera, which once again, we know flip phones have. They're really, really crappy. And then, of course, if you go with a smartphone, you're going to have a higher quality.
Well,
and it doesn't matter.
Yeah, we do know that they were using professional cameras. That it's evident by that. However, you have to also consider that it's possible that someone had a printout of this photo and then took a picture of the printout of the photo with their flip phone as well. I mean, there are so many ways to make a really bad photo. However, I think it still comes back to the point of that is the gun on the floor. And I had to eat crow and admit I made a mistake. That is the gun on the floor. But even though that may be the gun on the floor, it doesn't change the end result of the case.
True.
That being there, it's like, so what? Now we know that, a gun was on the floor. Big deal. How does that, what does that matter?
Well, I think what matters to me the most looking at that photo is, was that photo given to the public or was it not? If it was, then, we all should have access to it. If it wasn't, then the two people who are claiming property ownership of it have a big problem, a legal problem.
Yeah,
I agree.
Yeah.
Well, they wouldn't necessarily have. They wouldn't necessarily have the legal problem. It's whoever gave them the photo. If it wasn't meant to be public, and I don't think it was.
Right. Well, they would still be. They would know who that is, and they would be part of that legal problem. Definitely.
They could be, yeah. They definitely could be, but I would definitely say it'd be whoever the clearing officer was.
Their best bet.
And like I said,
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
Oh no, go for it.
I was gonna say their best bet, if this photo was not obtained in a legal manner and they were given it, they need to go to the Apple Valley and they need to tell them where they got that photo from. And that person
Absolutely.
something needs to happen to whoever did that if it was not legally obtained. If it was
Like I said, I don't
legally
think it was.
obtained,
And
then if
I mean,
here's the other scenario, because there is a scenario C, that it was released but it was not supposed to be. That's on the Apple Valley then.
yeah,
That's on them, and
yeah.
that makes it public. If they released it through a public data dump or a public file request or something like that, that's on them. It's public.
I mean, last I checked, I mean, they're not supposed to be taking photos with their phone, the crime scene, something like this. You know, so any photo is supposed to be taken. I believe it's through the crime scene investigation, or they're supposed to have a camera on hand. Which, like I said, this is where I think it's kind of problematic for whichever cop took this. This had to have been done by, like I said, it had to have been done one of the clearing police officers. So.
Yeah, I don't.
But
I
last
don't
thing
know.
before I gotta go is I
Go
do
ahead.
gotta go in like
Go
a
ahead.
second. But
Oh,
the
no.
other thing I really wanted to go and mention that's actually really relevant about this is we also get to see the positioning of the gun, which
Yes.
once again, I mean, I feel like that's really, really relevant when it comes to, trying to say David's guilty or not. And I think the way where it's at and everything, I do think that it does show a little more innocence here than it does guilt. I see no guilt here.
Yep.
So,
Yeah.
so I got to bounce. So thanks for having me, guys, and I will talk to you guys later.
Oh,
Thank you,
thanks for
brother.
dropping in.
We'll talk to you soon.
Of course.
Have a good night.
You guys too.
You too, man. That is Mr. William Rail. He is. You can catch him on Twitch. He does a lot of Twitch videos covering this case. Whether you agree with him or whether you disagree with him, he and I disagree on a lot of things. Where you can see we're still able to have a cordial chat here and just talk about this stuff. And that's what this really is. A lot of the stuff that happens in the Justice for David Crowley and Family Facebook group is a think tank. We're trying to figure out what is happening. We're not acting like we know what really happened or we have it all figured out, but we're just going to play games with other people, ha ha ha, all this stuff. Like, that's not the way that you get to the truth, and that's not how you help people, including helping this family. If you're playing games, you are not helping this family at all.
Right.
If you're withholding things, if you're making threatening comments to other people, if you're attacking other people, that is not helping David's family or Kamel's family at all. And you should be
It's counterproductive.
ashamed. It's very counterproductive. And it also, does not help them. It doesn't help their cause. Unfortunately, it does help us because it helps us show why these people are liars and frauds and just fiction writers. That's it. So, and that's time that obviously we don't want to be spending on this, on talking about them. And maybe that's what they really want. And that also is not helping the family. So nothing that they do is helping the family. If you want to help the family, let's find out what the truth is. Let's get some solid facts of what will prove David innocent or guilty. We have thousands of solid facts of why he is not guilty. We have not seen one fact to show that he is guilty.
Okay.
Go for
Next
it.
slide or
Next slide. Let's see. Did we miss anything? So he had 3 points here, right? He says, yes, I am. And I think he's being facetious a little bit here.
yeah,
Possibly.
sarcastic. I
Yeah.
guess, smartass kind of way, which is okay, because it's the only way to deal with these people.
Yeah.
So
You're right. He does seem frustrated, and he does seem like he's just, fed up. I mean, he does not support our cause. He does not support what we're doing, but at the same time, he also makes it clear that, he posts in the group and gives us all of this data. So there must be something there There must be some common ground that we've been able to find, and we found that with. I mean, I've spoken with many people who believe that David Crowley is guilty, and we've gone back and forth on private chats and things like that, and that's fine, you know. So
He just believes that everybody should have access to information in regards to the state.
yeah,
And a decent human being would believe that. So,
yeah, I think the only thing that I didn't like about what he posted yesterday was he said, I don't agree with this group's theorization of what happened. And I think that's a very general and broad statement because obviously, you know, we all, and I think, Catherine, I think you commented on that too. You know, we all have kind of our own views, our own things. You know, I've made it very clear that I do not have a theory. So when I hear people, you know, telling me that, you know, about a theory, it's like, wait a minute, I don't have a theory. I've made it very, very clear. I've made 2,000 videos, you know, making sure that, you know, people understand that I do not have a theory. I do not have one working theory. I will entertain many, many theories, and I will keep going back to several theories. Maybe there's I think that somebody even asked me one time, you know, if you had to like rate different theories. I've been able to really do that, but they're just theories. But I don't think that the group itself, the Justice for David Crowley Family Facebook group, has a theory. We have not come up with just one theory and then just kind of ran with it. Whereas this fiction group has a theory that David Crowley is guilty, and they just kind of run with it and just, you know, have the blinders on to anything else, to thousands of pages of documents, photos.
And that's the frustrating thing is they spend their time slandering anybody who says David is innocent, and they go through all this effort to rip and tear them apart on social media in their videos and all this other stuff, but present not one thing to back their position. But we are trying to back our position with evidence, stuff that is given to us by the police themselves. Right. And like you were saying, there isn't one theory. I think I've read, it's like everyone who looks at the case and then comments on the group page, everybody has a different idea of what they think happened. You know, so it's people, they're, you know, you're throwing out ideas and talking things over. Well, what if this could happen? And what if that happened? And I mean, that's a good thing. I think, you know, to throw and toss ideas out is how you can get and whittle things down.
Right. What else? Okay, so we're going to look at some of the files that are included in this quote-unquote data dump. The image of the gun found at the crime scene, which this for me, like I said, this is the big one because I've been asking for this. I know I'm not the only one, but we've been asking for this for six years. And I believe in the 21 questions for Detective Gummer, this is one of the questions that I asked. I said, hey, give me a censored photo. A censored photo. I don't want to see the bodies. All I want to see is where the gun is. I want to see where the butt of the gun. I want to see where that gun is facing. That's all that I wanted for 6 years. And it took our hero, Tony Floyd, and his data dump to get that. And again, people have been withholding this photo, have been withholding this thing, and I do hope that this was legally obtained. And if it was, then Detective Gummert and I are going to have hopefully we're going to have a chat here in the very near future to figure out why I was not given this photo when I specifically asked for this. Now, Detective Gummert has been nothing but professional. The Apple Valley Police, same thing. The BCA has been more than that, as far as my personal dealings with them. But it's kind of weird. The BCA has given us so much stuff, and the Apple Valley Police, you know, I did 2 or 3 requests, and I got 464 photos and 94 pages of police reports. That's it. That's all I've ever gotten from them until a couple days ago, until Wednesday. All of a sudden, there's all of this other data. Whatever, that's fine. Whatever. Just as long as you give it, you know, Just give us the public data. This is stuff we could have had 6 years ago, and we could have gone through all of this and a lot of the speculation, a lot of the things. Well, maybe he did it because of this. Well, the David's journal, his day one journal shows this. None of that turns out to be true. I mean,
Greg, can I interrupt
please,
for a second,
please
please?
do.
Okay, because some in the chat are asking. When I sent my FOIA request this last time, I was extremely specific about the things that I wanted. I gave item numbers, I gave the name of the files that I wanted. So when you send your FOIA request, you have to be extremely specific. Otherwise, they'll just say that they don't have the information, or you'll just get the regular 93 pages, I believe, or is it 94 pages of the police report that's redacted, and just the photos, just like 400 and something photos. You'll
we
get that
did
every
that.
single time.
Well, we did that. Dan Hinnon specifically asked for certain things, and they didn't give him. It looks like the video that is on this list is one of those things that we should have been given.
Yeah.
The gun photo, I mean, I asked Detective Gummer specifically for that. So now what you're saying is, okay, and I'm going to do this probably Monday, hopefully. Or maybe we'll see when. I'm going to do this very soon. But just like you're saying, okay, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to request a photo of the gun as it's found. I'm going to give them the actual freaking photo and say, I want this photo because it's out there. You guys have given it to somebody. And if you have not given it to somebody, please let me know that. Because then maybe I won't put it up there if it wasn't legally obtained. Or maybe we should look into how somebody was able to get this. Maybe there should be an internal investigation or something. But I think the very first step, like you said, I have to be very specific. I'll give you the model number. I'll give you everything that I know about this gun. But it's just very frustrating.
Also
Go ahead.
Yeah, and you have to say that as it was found in situ, not when it was being taken as evidence.
Right.
Because I guarantee if you're not specific, they will send you the evidence photo.
Yeah,
So,
on the living room floor. How about that? I have the coordinates. It's because it's in Joe Cooksley's notes of how the gun is found. These coordinates, this day, this time. What do you guys need? You know what I'm asking for. They know what I'm asking for. But okay, fine, whatever. But that's all that I want. I want that photo, and that does tell me a lot, and it does. Well, we're not there yet. We'll get to that photo, and then we'll kind of go over that a little bit. But so that's the image. David's Day One Journal, which is a redacted version. This is not the same version that we have. Tony did the redactions. A very classy person, because he redacted more than I would have. It sounds like he redacted what you and Catherine were kind of having to do, and that was going to take a while. And then it's like, well, he's already got it, and it looks like his version is actually a clearer quality version, which does make me think that this was an older version. On his website, he also talks about things that he took out that was given to him. So there are things that he has that he is not even sharing on his website. That is technically public data, whatever they have given him. But then there's some electronic reports. I believe that's the 360 or 317 pages of David's searches and what is in the Day One Journal. The medical examiner photos, which again we do not have. We only have 464 photos. Thanks to the BCA, we have over 700 photos that at least give us some, it gives us a lot more than what the Apple Valley did. Where did these photos come from? If these were requested, if these were given, through a FOIA from the Apple Valley, then why it doesn't make sense why some of the photos are given to some people and some aren't. Are they given photos to if I were to say that I believe David Crowley is guilty, would I have received thousands of more photos if I would have lied? So and then we have this crime scene photo here too, that, like I said, Dan Hinnon requested. I know he requested audio. He requested other things too. We wanted photos. I mean, and so like you said, maybe we didn't fill it out right. Maybe we weren't specific, and this person was. Whatever the case, the main thing is that the public has this data. That's what matters. Not my feelings about this. Not because, oh, I didn't get this or that or whatever, which does frustrate me, but it's not about me. As long as this stuff is out there, we're going to make sure that the public will have access to it. This is public data. This is not my public data. This is not public data that some people get and other people don't. That's what Sean Wright, that's what people like that were telling us. They had things that proved David Crowley guilty, but they couldn't share it with us right now, back in 2015. But if we just kept our mouths shut, if we didn't act like David Crowley was guilty, then at some point they were going to share it with us. That's total BS, man. I mean, that is just total BS. That is not something... And those were red flags, huge red flags. And when I posted the text messages between me and Sean, people could clearly see that. I didn't have to leave any comments on it. A person like that, you just let them talk. And this is a known felon. This is someone who has a criminal record. And this person, who David in his day one journal talks about, and not in a good light, this person is acting like he's David's savior and David's friend, and then you have this fiction group that has this criminal in their group, and people are supposed to take them seriously, and you really think the family really is going to side with them? With known criminals?
Oh, yeah, he's not the only one in there that got a record.
That's crazy.
Anyway.
It's crazy. Any thoughts on that before I move on? I know there's probably some great comments that I'm totally missing in the chat room. I do apologize for that.
They're just talking back and forth about the case and how Tony, I guess, released it and read it too, all this information.
Oh, great.
So
That's
he's
great.
making sure it gets out everywhere.
Get it out there,
they
Tony.
must have really pissed him off.
They woken the beast. Go get him, Tony. And
I'll upload the electronics crimes report and Detective Vaughn's report. Basically, it's just saying what types of tests that they ran, forensic tests, and on all the electronics.
Mm-hmm.
And Greg has already released the blacklight report to, I think it was item 5.
Mm-hmm. Item
which was
5
the
and then
searches.
item 8. Okay.
The other one really didn't show anything, so it's not of use at all. And I think that's the only reason why we never posted it.
Okay.
But that would be the laptop that was on the island.
Okay.
And so we'll make sure that everything is in the group for people. And do you have it all on your website too?
Currently I just have the journal and the 317-page electronic report that we covered. But if you could get any of the stuff that you have, if you could add that to the group files, that would be very, very helpful.
I'll add everything except the journal, only because we have not redacted those sensitive.
Can you...
But they could get it off of Tony's website. So.
Yeah, that's the one that I have on my website too. Maybe you can download it from my website and add it to the group files. Is that possible?
Yeah.
Okay.
I can do that.
Okay.
And Shall we move on to the next slide, or?
I think so. I think so. If I have another slide, is that it? Oh, I was like, wait a minute. I thought I had more. Okay. Oh, maybe that is. Is that all I have? I thought I had one more. Maybe not. Okay. I guess that's all of the slides that I have, but we do have the actual website here. And I'm not sure what this video is here. I don't want to get a copyright strike or anything. I have no copyright strikes on this channel, which is really weird.
Could
but
we
great. Go ahead.
move past the photo? Because I don't want you to get any strikes on your YouTube channel.
I'm not worried about that. Actually, I actually do want to talk about that. Well, I guess I did already talk about it. So I don't know. I mean, this is all I wanted right here. I just wanted to see which way the gun was facing. Okay, a guy shoots himself with his right hand, and the gun ends up here, where his left hand is, and you look at where his... No. This is exactly the whole thing. Now, that is just really weird, because we were kind of told the gun was kind of down here where this lemur was. And then it's
Are you going to show the photo? I'm not seeing it.
Are you not seeing it?
It's there. I see it.
Oh, okay. There it goes. I'm sorry. Yeah, for some reason
Greg,
my laptop was slowed down. Okay, now I see it. Thank you.
Okay.
Greg, you can actually enlarge that part so everybody could see the gun.
Okay.
I know that I can do it on my phone.
Yeah, it is kind of blurry right there. So I don't know if that, but yeah, it's just such a bad image right there.
There you go.
Unfortunately. So that's it right there. That's where that gun was found, as far as I know. I mean, this is where the gun is found. You shoot yourself with your right hand. The gun is found here, and the police are not disturbed by that at all. At all. I mean, it speaks for itself. If I wanted to hide something, and if I was a part of some fictional group, I'd probably hide this too. Because words, the images speak for themselves. That's why we weren't, we just wanted the photos. We wanted, all of this stuff that would show whatever that they're saying. What did you guys see when you walk into this house? Because we asked Detective Gummer, I asked him, when did you realize David Crowley was guilty? He said, as soon as he assessed this scene. So based on what he's saying, he walks into this house, and this looks like a double murder-suicide to him. No. Sorry, just not buying it. He's a police officer. It's not his job to do that. First of all, to just walk in. Oh yeah, double murder suicide. Cool. Okay, done. It's a big problem there. Anything on that photo, or else I'll just keep moving on here. I'm a little frustrated.
They were asking if the gun could have been moved by the dog.
I don't think so. I mean, anything's possible, sure. I mean, it's. I guess, yeah, it's possible. It's possible.
I mean, anything's possible.
Yeah.
He did things at the crime scene. We know that he did chew on bones.
We're
not denying it. We can see the proof of it in the photos.
No,
he destroyed things.
I do think that's a question. I don't want to act like I'm belittling that question, because it is a very valid question. It's a question that we all ask. We all will ask at some point. But then you have to just kind of, okay, that's a great question. Let's look at the pros. Let's look at the cons, and you kind of just go from there. Have you ever seen a dog move a gun with this much weight? If the dog did move the gun, would there be, other blood, or would there be other dog saliva or something like that? How would that affect that whole thing too? So I guess you would have to look at so many different things. I would kind of assume that if he shot himself with his right hand, which David was right-handed, the gun should be closer to his right hand. So for the dog to have moved it from where his right hand was over to where his left hand was is also another. It's like you said, it's possible,
Joe,
but
oh, sorry. Joe Howard would like you to zoom in on the gun again, please.
I'll zoom in
And
on the gun. I know
Derek,
it's not very good here, so let me know if you want me to zoom in a little more, and I can do that. I know there's a lag on the YouTube site.
and Derek says, even not fully loaded, it's not impossible, but the dog has been blamed for everything. Come on.
Yeah.
And he's so right. The dog has been blamed for everything. I mean, not like it's not impossible. I mean, but he does have a point.
Yeah. And even when you look at the gun, when they put it on the table next to the Christmas tree, next to that front window, it has hair on it. It has blood on it. We know that there's blood on the magazine too. If I remember correctly, it's David's blood on the magazine, Kamel's blood on the actual gun. I mean, and then hair. Why would there be hair there? It's very, very odd stuff about this gun. So this, to me, for the gun, is pretty much the final piece of the puzzle. This is just more proof to me. So I don't know if that image is clear. On my screen, it looks very, very fuzzy. So I see what William is talking about now. When I zoom in, yeah, it's like, whoa, that's grainy. Because when you're not zoomed in and you're just looking at it from the website, I was like, well, that looks like a pretty decent photo, actually. But the more I zoom in, yeah, the more it does not. So I hope that helps.
Greg, please go to the red on David's leg.
Okay. Let's
I guess it's right across from where the gun was.
Okay.
On his leg.
Yeah, so there's
right there.
There's a big red spot, flesh.
Yeah, and this is interesting because there is no wound on David's leg, as the ME states.
They don't mention any wound, anything. I mean, they do mention, quote unquote, evidence of animal or possible evidence of animal scavenging.
And that's in relation to his neck, face, and his hand.
Oh, interesting. So they're actually specific about the animal scavenging and where they think the animal scavenging is.
Well, because the rest of his body was intact, so they don't mention any other injuries to his body. So I'm saying, I mean, people are more than welcome to read the autopsies that are either on your website or in the group, and they'll say for themselves.
Yeah, this makes me want to go back through David's autopsy to see if when they mention animal scavenging in relation to David, are they specific about where the animals... I don't think they are. I think they're very, very vague. And that's just the final report, right? There's obviously notes and there's recordings that they're doing as they're looking at the actual body, which is the real stuff that we really wanted. Again, I'd rather just have what the medical examiner is seeing. I'd rather have a recording of that than really see the actual bodies, but whatever. This is what happens when you have to go digging for things. You end up having to exhaust all different scenarios, possibilities, and that's exactly what is happening here. What we're looking at here, if it's not specifically mentioned in the autopsy, why not? Why not? If they thought this was animal scavenging, then they should say possible animal scavenging on David's left leg. Or I don't know.
It does say with defects on left front and left lower pant leg. Pants are covered in dark green to red stains are present with numerous short white hairs. And
Can you read that first part again about the left leg?
And where is that located, please?
it is David's autopsy report, page 3.
David's
Okay.
autopsy report.
Thank
page
you.
Clothing and personal effects. And I believe it's bullet point 4. One pair of Nautica jeans, company brand, black and white and blue striped sweatpants, size medium, with defects on the left front and left lower pant leg. The pants are covered with dark green to red stains are present and numerous short white hairs. The
But it's
staining is
not talking
also
about-
on
Yeah.
the staining is also on his boxer shorts. And
Yeah.
the staining is also on his black sleeve. No. On his shirt. On the left, on the collar in the left side of his shirt. The black shirt, they said. And then I'm looking over his body.
Yeah, there's no mention of the wound on the leg. I can't find it.
Mm-mm.
Interesting.
Nope.
Very disturbing right there. No head. No head. Gone.
They said they also found red-brown blood-like material on the dorsal left hand between the thumb and the first finger.
Anything else on that image? I really want to move on from that image.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's move on.
Okay.
We can move on.
Okay, the photograph was obtained through Luis Gibson and Joe Tomaso, at the Crowley case Facts versus Fiction. So that's the group, right? That's what that is? That's a
Yeah,
Facebook
that's
group.
the
Okay.
group.
So they obtained
The
this.
We Are David Guilty group.
Is this the image they try to copyright? Is that what happened here?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah,
Wow.
that's the image that they try to copyright.
They wouldn't copyright it if it was legally obtained. I don't know. I mean, that would be weird. Well, here's what he says.
A
Let me
little
keep
bit
reading
sultry.
on. They initially claimed that they obtained this photo through a source at the AVPD who was assigned the case in 2015. But after building a relationship with them, that's not... I mean, Luis was in our group at that time, and she was one of the big, one of the people speaking up that David Crowley was not guilty.
Who?
Miss
Louise?
Gibson, yeah, for years,
Really?
for years, yeah, for many years, up until she got booted out. Oh yeah, she was, anti-Judy, totally thought David didn't do this, etc., etc.
Anti-Sean, too.
Anti-Sean, they were all crazy, talking smack about all of them, and she, no, something wrong there. So it sounds like Tony doesn't believe what they're saying either. I mean, geez, look at these. This is crazy. The lies.
Well, Louise used to tell me stories about how she owned Judy. Judy would say that the couch was in one position or something like that, and she had this huge argument with her. I don't know. It was just, and now seeing her all buddy with her, it's like, okay, whatever.
Oh yeah,
But she's very proud of that,
Yeah, she's told me that
Okay.
for years, for many years. We have a lot of data backing that up. What she really thought about Judy back then. So that's kind of
Mhm.
weird.
Or Rob or Sean. There's lots of proof.
Yeah, Rob
It's
Rob
just,
Rob got caught. He got caught in some lies because he was yeah, he definitely got caught. So he was probably not being truthful for a very long time, and maybe other people were too, but it just shows that they're not interested in truth, because
see,
if
and
you are, you
I
don't act like
came
that.
into the group at the tail end of that when Rob finally got booted or left.
He got called out and could
And
not answer a couple questions, simple
mhm.
questions, and then backtracked,
And
and then
it,
yeah.
yeah, and that was interesting. And he was the first one. He and Mark Anthony were the first ones who were claiming that you and Dan were withholding evidence, and that is still the mantra to this day with the other group. And we
Like
know for a
what
fact
type
that
of
this
what
BS,
evidence? What evidence do they think we're withholding? Evidence that the police doesn't
that
have?
David's guilty and that you guys are milking this for all it's worth.
But here's the thing though, the cops don't even have that evidence.
I
So
know,
how would
right?
how would
They,
we have it? I don't get it.
I mean, the cops even say it throughout the report, even at the very end, even the ECU paperwork. We have no proof. We have no motive. But because they don't have, I guess, quote unquote, proof of somebody else,
Hmm.
David must be the guilty party, even though the backslider was unlocked and slightly opened. And,
No
there's
signs
so much of
of
that.
somebody forcing their way in though. That is a fact.
Yeah, no proof of forced entry.
No forced
They don't
Why
entry.
need
would it
forced
be
entry with an open door.
I know,
Well,
right? or no proof of missing items from the household.
right.
Well, you don't need to steal anything to kill a family.
No signs of a struggle. Even though there is a
Yep.
knife, there is a knife on the living room, but
You know,
no signs of a struggle, people.
and yeah, an open
An
knife
open knife.
and
Right there.
bullet holes in the floor and casings on the floor that, or like an unfired bullet that had jammed. More shots to Kamel than needed to be.
Hmm. No struggle, though. No struggle.
and and the crime scene is chaotic. But yeah, there's no sign of a struggle.
He says, although when I later confronted them about the legality of obtaining this photo after being lied to on numerous occasions, I want to hear more about that from you, Tony. They
Hmm.
changed their story, because he probably has all these screenshots too. He probably has all this stuff. They changed their story and claimed that they obtained it through a legal records request, meaning that apparently anyone could obtain it. This is a lie. He's got them right here. He's got them
Yeah.
right where he wants them. This guy's really really smart here. Um, he's got all of this there, and the fact that they changed their story. There's no need to change your story if you're telling the truth. So
The truth doesn't change.
no, truth doesn't change. But he's really got them in a legal bind here, because either they legally obtained them or they didn't. So when they first say that they didn't legally obtain them, which is what it sounds like in the first sentence here,
Hmm.
and then the second sentence, it sounds like now they're backtracking and saying that they legally obtained them. That's something that we can definitely figure out, that you can definitely prove. And it sounds like that's pretty much what Tony said is, hey, this statute, the Minnesota statute 13.82 subsection 7, boom, right there. And it's a simple question for the Apple Valley. Was this image legally obtained or not? That's what all I've asked them. I have not heard back from the. I'm sure they're getting their lawyers and have to pass it up the chain, blah blah blah, whatever. I know that they may even be listening. They may even be watching. They may be watching the group, whatever. We're only looking for the legal stuff here, the stuff that the public has. Based on what the public has, there's no way you can say that David is guilty. Even this image here, but now you have something here where you're talking about things that are being given to people illegally, possibly. Why? Why? You know, it's really really odd. This is, I mean, when I'm reading this, it really just he opens up a can of worms here. He really does. So, it says, I believe that is a lie, as I have been denied access to much less graphic photos pertaining to the case. We've all gone through the same thing, I'm sure. Images, so here's the statute. Images and recordings, including photographs, video, audio recordings, which are part of inactive investigative files and which are clearly offensive to common sensibilities, are classified as private or non-public data. And that's, again, that's backed up by, what we asked Gummert, is we just wanted an image of the gun, blur out everything else, and all of a sudden other people have it. I mean, that's too coincidental and just too shady. It's just, I mean, it just adds to the shadiness of all of this case, and it doesn't need to be like that. It never did. Just give the public the data, and you guys, obviously the Apple Valley, the police think that they have it solved. Well, fine, think whatever you guys want, but give us the public data. Don't withhold the stuff. So I hope that they haven't been. But if they haven't been, then that means that that photo, and maybe other stuff too, was not obtained in a legal way.
I'm going to put this out there.
Yes.
I'm not saying this happened. I'm just saying Sean, Wright, and Judy are in that group. And they both have had access to the files and to things that we didn't have for the longest time in regards to this case. Well, it's very possible that, and I'm assuming here, that things were shared with the other group that weren't shared with us. And that's why the lies were happening. But,
Well, they should not
now
have
it's out there.
They should not have access to anything that we don't have access to. They're public. We're public. There's no difference.
But the thing is that Sean and Judy were both involved with the documentary. And we all know that Eric Nelson and Sean had the files. Even Mason had the files. Mason Hendricks, I'm fairly certain of that, because he was asking long ago if you had seen the data searches. And you told him flat out that you hadn't. But obviously he had that information at that time.
And that would have been
and then when you said that
2016, maybe, yeah, 2017.
Yeah, and then when you said that you hadn't seen it, that's when he lied to you. And he told you that there were certain things on there near the end that David was searching for, but he didn't. So, I mean, this is just, I'm doing deductive reasoning here.
Yeah, I think he also said one of the last things that David posted or commented on was one of Hendrix's posts. So I don't even know if that's true or not. Whether it is or whether it's not.
He didn't go to Hendrix's page on Facebook. We would know because it would be in the data searches.
Well, that's similar. Go ahead.
No, but he did go to Danny August Mason's Facebook page several times. So.
Yeah, and there's no reason to withhold any of that stuff. If anything, they would black it out, similar to this blackout thing here. If they didn't want Hendrix to be mentioned or anything like that, it would be blacked out or something. But that could have been a Facebook. I think it was a Facebook post too. So I don't know. But you're right, because there are Facebook posts and things like that in there. So again, unless the police are picking and choosing, which it doesn't look like they're really doing. It looks like I mean, with the 317 page thing, maybe because it looks like it's on a spreadsheet. But with the phone calls, with the phone records, it would be really hard for them to kind of censor that and kind of make it look like they didn't censor it. So we're talking about some of the phone records, calls that people say they made the call, and then the records say something completely different. I mean, what other conclusion could you come to? So, I mean.
Well, I'm waiting for the Celebrate files, and once I receive those, I'll compare them to another spreadsheet that I made in regard to people saying that they either text or contacted David, and it doesn't show up in the AT&T report. But if they show up in the Celebrate report, then obviously it happened, because those are legit. So I'm going to hold off on that.
Yeah, I mean, it could have been one thing where, and here's where the Day One Journal kind of ties there is that, we have the police are saying that the Day One Journal ends in September. Obviously, now that we have the Day One Journal, you can clearly see that it doesn't end until November 5th, right? November 5th.
Mm-hmm.
So there's obviously something going on there. Maybe the file that they had was the stuff that was not deleted, and somehow doing the whole, pulling everything out using special software, they were able to find other posts past September. And so maybe they'll do something, maybe with these records that you're talking about, maybe we'll see something with those phone records too, whatever it is. But
because these are text messages, and I'm not sure exactly whether they're emails, but definitely text messages from David's cell phone.
Right.
So we'll definitely be seeing if he was actually contacting. But they should have shown up on the AT&T record. So I'm a little confused about that.
Yeah, only if they were taken off. Only if what we're seeing on the AT&T records for the text messages is. I don't know how that works. I'm just trying to think of scenarios, I guess. If it was a deleted message, would it still show up there?
I have AT&T. I will look at we just had our phone bill come in, so I'll take a look at it and see.
Yeah, try to have somebody send a text, try to delete it and see if that still comes up there.
It should still come up because it got pinged, so it should come up. You sent it through the service, it would come up, even if it was deleted off of your phone.
Yeah.
It still went through AT&T service, that satellite, and got pinged. So yes, it would show up. I'm not a techie, but common sense would say that it would.
Sure. Well, and he does. He has the Day One Journal, 162 pages there. He says, "I obtained this via records request a while ago, and we just got this a couple days ago."
I received it on August 4th.
Okay, I just received mine on Wednesday, so. I mean.
Well, I gave it to you to read. But
yeah.
You just received your copy.
Yeah, I received my copy. I've been asking for this for years, but whatever.
For 6 years.
For 6 years, but all of a sudden, it's. I guess I just got to keep asking for it and keep asking, which I don't want to do. I know they have other things that they have going on. We wouldn't even be in this spot now, going back and forth. The Apple Valley police probably feel like we're just wasting their time. It's like, no, man, if you guys would have just given us all of this stuff way back when, there would be no need for us to contact you. Yeah, we wouldn't be contacting you about any of this stuff here. Why are we just receiving this all of a sudden? Yeah.
My contact with Apple Valley, who's been fulfilling these my FOIA requests, has been very patient, and she has answered my questions, and I am incredibly thankful. for her time and her patience. So,
Yep, I am too. I am too.
and maybe we're just not asking in the right way. Or maybe they finally decided, okay, you can have this. We've given it to other people. So, I mean, it doesn't matter now. We have it.
Yeah, yeah. I'm not trying to go back and, woulda, shoulda, coulda, whatever. I think you're right. It's on me to just take that responsibility. Maybe I just wasn't filling it out right. Okay, whatever. We have it. So there's going to be a lot more requests that I'm going to try then, and I'm going to try to fill it out right. Okay? Maybe I'll wait another 5 years before we get more. I don't know. We'll see what happens. So he says I obtained this via a records request a while ago and gave a redacted and compressed copy. So he redacted this, a redacted and compressed copy to the clowns at the Crowley case, fact versus fiction. So yeah, he's not really too happy with them. He's never called us clowns, and he doesn't agree with us. So like you were saying, there's definitely some other issue going on there. Their claims of obtaining it months prior are yet more lies, visible by how compressed their photographs from it are. So he's saying something similar to what William is talking about, how the photo is very compressed. And I think that's why William thinks it's coming from a...
What does that mean, compressed?
You save
because
it.
Mine weren't.
It just looks to me like they're saving it at a much lower resolution.
Which is...
You can compress it too, which will shrink it down as well, but it's not a very good resolution file.
Yeah.
Okay, because when they sent it to me, it wasn't compressed. That's why I was asking.
Yeah,
as far as I know, it wasn't.
I mean, I think the one that you got looks... the quality is a lot reduced than the one that Tony has. So yours could be a compressed. I don't know. I can't prove that.
Okay. Once again, I'm not a techie.
Well, here's what he says. He says theirs is 100. His is 107, and theirs is 4. So all you have to do, and we can do this later. We can look at it and see how big is that file that you have. If it's 107, it's not compressed. If it's 4, it probably is. I won't do it here because we're live. But if you want to go, if you want to look at that, go to the file, do a right click, and go to the properties, and you can see that.
Oh, I don't have it on the computer.
That's
I
okay.
have it on my cell phone.
Okay. Yeah, we can definitely do that.
I mean, could they have removed information from their journal
Yes.
that they're showing people?
Yes, but if they're showing it to him, and they're saying, obviously he's seen theirs, so they've compared files at some point. He would also know if they've removed anything from it. If it's the exact same file, there's many reasons why they could have reduced it to 4. One could be because if you're going to share it with people, most like Gmail and things like that, there's a maximum thing. It's like 25 or something like that. So obviously they would have to lower it in order to share it to many people. So there could be many reasons why.
Yeah, I just automatically save it to Dropbox and then share the files that way.
Right, and that's the best way to keep the highest.
Email is a pain.
I know. But if you did try to share, like if he tried to share this one at 107, he wouldn't be able to unless he went through like a Google Drive or something like that. So, but it's possible. Back then it was still possible too. He says the reason why they're taking so long to publish is because they need to get their own copy and want to because of the following information. So that's pretty interesting too. So
They want their own copy.
Yeah, so it's like,
Well,
I
what
thought
copy were they using? His?
they may have taken his and lowered the quality, compressed it, shared it with a bunch of people, and then
Remove stuff.
showed him, hey, we have the same copy too, or something, and probably took out things where he had redacted. They probably just said, oh, we're just gonna redact that whole thing, and
Mm-hmm.
that's all speculation. I really don't know. Really does not matter. What matters is what he's saying here. This is a very articulate person who is making a very strong case to let anybody know why this group is completely fiction, no facts. They are challenging
I don't
facts because they're fiction.
I don't understand why he wrote the original file is 107 MB. I mean, I don't understand the point of that, but obviously he's making a point.
Yes, that is a big point because that shows how big that file is, and that will also help us too. Now I can go look at my file and make sure mine
Okay.
is 107 because it should be. So that is a
Oh,
big point.
right.
Yeah.
Maybe the email will tell me.
It may, I don't know. I don't know. You'd have to download it somewhere, but you still have to look at the properties to see. Um, he says the reason why they're okay. We already covered that because they want their own because of the following information are redacted very small portions of the journal, as it sometimes detailed the couple's intimate life, and on two occasions with photographs that should not have been provided to me. So these are the ones, obviously, that I'm interested in here. Two photographs that should not have been provided to me. Um, I'm curious about that in the journal. So it sounds like it's just stuff that's in the journal. So it's not like any crime scene or anything like that. But it's like, okay, um, what was in the
Okay.
journal that would need to be taken out? And maybe it's not
Mine
relevant.
is, I'm sorry to
Go
interrupt.
ahead. That's okay.
My day one spreadsheet, redacted copy.pdf, is 7.35 MB.
And that's small. It's very small.
So, yes, it was compressed. I apologize, Derek. My mistake.
Yeah.
So,
And later I'll go look at mine. I doubt mine was 172. Mine is probably the same as yours. Probably about 7.
okay.
Now we can always go back and ask them why. Why did we get a small? Is it because you had to compress it? I don't believe that that's the case because the way that it was sent to me, at least, was through a secure server where I know that they could have uploaded it at a much bigger rate. So we'll see. It seems like he says, as such, I notified the AVPD of this and will not be sharing these files, although you can find the aforementioned copy of the journal and original uncompressed copies and images contained within it at the links below. So the only reason I'm curious about what those photographs were are just because what is the proper context of those photographs? Was it more of the intimate stuff? Was it something else? So that would kind of be the only thing. And obviously that's kind of a little, everybody's going to, reading this, we're all going to kind of wonder, oh, what is he talking about here? The mind wanders and wonders, et cetera, but hopefully maybe Tony can kind of clear that up to just, I know you can't say exactly what it is or whatever, but maybe you can at least give us, some proper context on that, to just let us know kind of what it had to do with. Is it personal stuff? It's just stuff between them. I don't know. I don't need to know too much. I don't need TMI or whatever, but it would be nice to have just a little more information about some of the proper context of that. So anyways, if not, that's cool. None of my business. Not really obviously not relevant to this case, like you and Catherine have both talked about. The stuff that was redacted is not really relevant. So there's the two documents if you want to see them, if you want to read them. I do have the day one journal on my website, so you can go to thegraystage.wordpress.com and you can check that out. And you can probably figure out what size it is too. I can guarantee it's under 25 megabits. So the original metadata from the spreadsheet suggests it was exported from day one into a PDF by David on his iPhone and had been completely unchanged. The photos embedded had no discernible file names or metadata. I don't know if you two have had a chance to compare those either, but if you compare them, some of everything on Tony's PDF has all the dates in blue. The one that we have does not match that. It looks like it's like photocopied or something, like it's added back in. So it does make me, based on that, maybe you can kind of see what stuff, where, you won't see what stuff, but you'll see where some of the redactions were done by the Apple Valley after Tony let them know that, hey, you gave me this stuff, this stuff should not be here. Maybe. Let's see, okay, there's that. The electronics report. So that's the big one. I believe that's the big, or no, this is just like one page here, maybe 1 or 2 pages. But we'll make sure that everybody has access to that as well. She says this page was obtained through Joe Tomato at the Crowley case, Fact versus Fiction. As you can see, it clearly reads not for public release and was redacted from the copy of the full report I have provided below. So even Joe Tomato had something here that Tony did not have, is what it sounds like. How would he get that? Better have been legally.
Well, no, go ahead. I'm not gonna.
I mean,
No,
if it's
I'm
not
just gonna keep
legal,
it. Well,
and I mean, that pretty much says it right there. He says this is more evidence of a shady, less than legal methods to obtain these materials. Right there. And of course,
he often brags about having a special relationship with the Apple Valley detectives. And so, I don't know, maybe they told Tony that that's how they got this information. But they also said that I would never get this information, that I guess, barred from getting anything else from Apple Valley. Obviously, they're wrong because I have it, and I have the email to prove it.
I mean, a quick search on this guy.
Mm-hmm.
Would the police could have done a very quick search on this guy and found out a lot of information on him, and it would not have been. I don't know what cop would want any relationship with him, knowing some of the stuff that he's done.
Joe P is the one you're talking about.
No, I'm talking about this guy, Tomato Head. I'm talking about this guy.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, you want to elaborate?
No.
Okay.
But I will, since you asked.
I mean, people who are listening need to know what these people are like and who they are.
Yeah, no, you're right. I mean, this guy has been known of filing lawsuits, fake lawsuits that get thrown out of court. Frivolous lawsuits, I think, is the proper term. The police can figure that out. They can see this guy has no money, cannot even pay his own bills, and has many times filed frivolous lawsuits. So why would they want to deal with a guy like that? So Maybe they did. Maybe they didn't know. Maybe they didn't care. But I kind of find it hard to think that the police would really want anything to do with a guy like that. But you never know.
Yeah.
So there's the reports. There are the photos, the medical examiner photos. And so you can download all of those directly from here. We will make sure that if for whatever reason you're not comfortable downloading them from here, we'll also make sure that you can download them other places. And there's also a video that we have here. So he says, so this is right here.
Yeah.
These were obtained through the AVPD through several records requests. Photographs such as bone frags near ME 0367 were denied and were not withheld. So I was a little confused about what do you mean they were denied but not withheld? I was a little confused by that phrasing there of what that meant. So because obviously there is no 0367. So what is in 03?
No. That's
Is that wrong?
Kamel's number, her case number. It ends in 0367. I believe David is 66.
Ah, okay. Photographs such as
And I believe that Kamel's family has said do not release maybe anything of hers, because almost anything that we do of her is redacted, I guess. I mean, I know that we have some bank account activity, but a lot of that's redacted. The only thing that isn't is her credit report, because we have both hers and David's.
Well, I mean, we see her tattoos here, and this is what bothers me about this part of it, is I specifically asked for photographs like this from not only the AVPD, but from the Hennepin County Medical Examiner's Office, and I was turned down both times. They wouldn't give me anything, because I specifically was asking too for where you see on the bottom one where it says skull frags near ME15- that's David. Those are the ones that were collected near David, sent with David, because I wanted that photo of that skull cap, and they said no, we're not releasing these to you. And then look, they give it to him.
They were obtained.
Yep.
Through a records.
I was denied, and they were granted to him, and that, I'm not happy about that.
No, I mean that doesn't make sense, because again, they don't get to pick and choose. Now, they have said that there's still data that they're waiting on. When I spoke with them, or when I when I conversed with them, they were not specific as to what data. So I let them know what data, at least what data needs to be included in that. And when they fulfill that request, I am expecting all of this data that we're looking at here. Nothing less. I'll take more, but nothing less. Or else there's some legal issues there. And they know that. I don't have to tell them that. They already know that. So they know that they have a problem here. Unless they're going to say, no, this was not legally obtained. Which, if they say that, okay, then, I understand why you're not giving it to me. But it has to be one or the other. And then the photo here, then the video, which is about, 9 minutes long? Well, it's about 13 minutes long, I believe. So that was the other thing. I was like, we've been asking for a video, and you guys gave it to this person.
Yeah,
why?
I got flat out denied twice for that one.
Yep.
And I was very specific in both times. So, okay.
Yeah,
I'm glad to have it now.
Yeah, I did create a video that has this video and these photos, so if you do want to just go and watch that, obviously you can download everything directly from here too. But again, if you're not comfortable with it, um, we'll make sure that there's other places that you can download it. But if you just want to view it as a video and a slideshow, you can go to my website or to my YouTube channel, and you can look at that now. And it's public data, so anyone can take it and also, do whatever they want with it too. I'm not copywriting it. It's nothing for me to copyright. Okay, so all I did was.
That's a control freak issue for me, and
I know I shouldn't laugh. I shouldn't laugh at it, but it's just so ridiculous.
Like, how anal can you get over that crap? You either trust your people or you don't. But
Well, and I want.
there was full evidence.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
What?
Go ahead.
Those who are listening right now, I wanted you guys to know that on my YouTube channel tomorrow night, I will be premiering a video I just did covering the bloody clothes from the new data dump right there. So I'll be going over that in detail. Only for David and Kamel, I will not be covering Rania.
Okay, good. Yeah, I was going to ask you more about that. I'm glad you're using that function, but I was going to ask you more about that. What can we expect to see from that video? So I'm glad you covered that. And I hope everybody here is subscribed to Catherine's channel, because she has a lot of great data there, a great reach, and make sure that you are subscribed to that channel. She posts all of her videos in our group too, but if you want to see it first, if you want to see it quick, if you want to make sure that you don't miss anything, that is the best way to make sure. So if you just go to YouTube, search for Catherine, Michele, 1L, and you'll definitely find it. I will be watching that too. I may have to sneak away for a few minutes. Can you tell us about how long it is, Catherine?
It's about half an hour, almost about 30 minutes, I think. So it's not too long.
Okay, and if people go to your YouTube channel right now, will they be able to set their reminder?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, great. Is it in the Let's Get Ready to Rumble? Derek, it is not that one. It's the one right underneath it. I think it's just called David Crowley Crime Scene Video and Photos, if I remember correctly. That's the name of the video that has pretty much the 13-minute, 14-minute video, which we could always play here too, and then it has those photos. But I know it's late for both of you, so I do appreciate you both being on here. It's late for me, so I know it's late for both of you here. But we're coming to a conclusion, to the end here, as far as all of this.
This is the interesting part.
Lies, confidentiality, and
everything.
shady dealings. Yeah, at the Crowley case. And that's the other thing. Why don't they just say, "We believe David Crowley is guilty"? That's the name of their group. That's what it should be. David Crowley is guilty. David Crowley murdered everybody and killed himself. I mean, the name just gives it away that they're just trick people.
Would people seeking the truth join a group saying David Crowley's guilty? Join us.
Nope.
We can hate on everybody who thinks he's innocent.
Nope. But if these people really thought that David Crowley was guilty, they would use a name that backed that up, and they don't.
Mm-hmm. And the thing is they lure these people in, and they bait them.
Mm-hmm.
Share your opinions on the case. We welcome all views. And the minute that they start talking about the case, they get attacked. And then booted. And then they sit there and they talk shit about them when they can't even respond. So,
right.
Yep, that's the people that you deal with in that group. Okay. And, of course, we'll see it right here. And Tony backs it up, too.
Yep, says they like to claim that they're good people who would never disclose things told to them by the family and trust. hurt them, or play games with such a case. That's pretty much what they're all doing. Their entire stick is dragging out drama to virtual signal about how respectful and smart they are, saying that they are on the side of the families who likely only tolerate them, and while they, behind the scenes, share graphic photos and confidential information the family entrusted them with complete strangers. So they're still saying they're acting like they're getting all this stuff from the family. It's hard for me to believe, but maybe they are. Whatever. Let's give them the benefit of the doubt. Tony would definitely know more than me. I have no interest in this group. No interest in paying attention to anything that these people are doing, because it is complete fiction. You know, if you really want to figure out what's happening here, I wouldn't spend too much time. I wouldn't spend too much time there. Just read what Tony says here. You'll get the kind of the whole bullet points of what it is. So save yourself a lot of time. All they're trying to really do is play games, and so that's really, really sad. But then we get to, so this is from April 25th, 2001, and Louise Gibson, I don't know who she is, but she said David was resentful of Rania, that he never wanted children. I've heard that many times. I've heard Sidra say that.
I have a feeling that she's speaking of Sidra.
Yeah.
Because there's even more intimate details. And I want everybody to understand that this group, they are all middle-aged adults and older. So for them to be acting this way is just beyond shameful.
But Emmy said no signs of pregnancy or recent pregnancy or anything. So, yeah, and this is backwards, by the way. So, this is, you can see that 1959, so it's kind of backwards. So it would be kind of better if we read it the other way. But just for time's sake here, no signs of pregnancy or anything. I mean, what does that have to do with anything?
Keep reading down and it'll go over that.
Okay, maybe I should start from the bottom then here? Is that what I should do here?
Well, it's where Sidra's telling her that Kamel wore the corset, and that's what I'm saying. Keep reading. It's down there in the corset when she was pregnant. Right there. You see it.
Okay, so this is April. I'm going to start right here then.
Sidra's friend said that David was being on mushrooms and got mad at
But that's in June.
Kamel and
yeah.
And that's never mentioned. Yeah, he did take mushrooms later. Oh no, this is.
Does their basement
He did take
lock?
mushrooms like in June or something like that.
I don't think the basement locks from that side, but I mean we have the photo of the door, but I don't think it locks that way. I don't know.
Ooh, that gave me an idea. Okay. Go ahead.
Okay, so starting here, I'm going to start at April 25th, 1956. I'm just going to read up. So she said she was staying at their old apartment and they had another dog, and that something happened and David threw the dog against the wall. Okay, I mean, it's all just reaching, right? Everything we're seeing here is just games. This is all just games.
Word of mouth.
Yeah, just try to get people, oh, this is why David did it. None of this shows why David did it. This is just attacking his character. This has nothing to do with the actual case of, all of this is just reaching. It is completely reaching, which is completely different than what she was doing. Maybe, I don't know what happened to this person. This is just like a completely different person. So I don't know who the real Gibson is. Was it the one that joined the group way back when? Or is this the real one? It can't be both. It can't be both. Also, that in his journal, there was something like 20 ways to kill a fetus. She said she contacted the inmate to make sure that Kamel wasn't or hadn't been pregnant. Is there anything about in his journal about 20 ways to kill a fetus?
No.
That is a flat-out lie.
So is Louise lying or is Sidra lying? Here we don't know.
Correct.
Well, if Louise had the journal back when she's talking about this, then she flat out lied.
If she
They said that they
read
had the
it,
journal for months. This is April.
Mhm.
and that's it.
So
if
either
actually
she
read
had it,
Yeah.
and she never read it, or she did read it and she's just continuing to lie.
Or she knows that it's not true and still telling lies.
And so she's trying to pass the buck onto Sidra, which is what Louise has always done. She always passes the buck onto somebody else. And so here she's saying basically the implication, which we are now inferring, is that Sidra told her in David's journal there was something like 20 ways to kill a fetus. And we all know that's a load of crap.
There's not even searches like that on the computer. So where the hell did that come from?
Oh, God, with her, who knows?
See,
Go
never
ahead.
mind.
She also says here a minute later. I mean, she's quick. Like every minute, she's like, boom, boom, boom. And these are all like just talking points, like a CNN talking point thing here. Had all sorts of things through her head that David had forced Kamel to get termination. And she also said because Kamel had the corset where she used to wear it after she had Rania, as she had a weak back, she thought if she was wearing it, she might have been pregnant. And these are probably all stuff that Sidra told Luis in confidence, I'm sure.
Mm-hmm.
This is all stuff that obviously, if there was any validity to it or anything like that, all of this would have come up. You know, this would be something to that you could definitely prove. Was she pregnant? Was she not pregnant? I mean, really, David killed everybody and himself because she was pregnant. That is a big reach, but Luis could be fed information here. So could Sidra, too. You don't know. You know, we don't know at that point, because we don't know when Luis and Sidra talked. There were different times when I talked with Sidra, and she had a lot of questions, and she found the answers, and then realized that that stuff was not, maybe accurate. But I don't know. Just from my dealings with Sidra, she had a lot of questions, not any answers.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure that she had first contacted me when I first started this case because someone with a fake name, and if it was Sidra, this person, she was very, it was like an honest digging, so to speak. I know digging might be the wrong word, but here, and I think this is the perfect example of what Tony's saying, that throwing people under the bus. Louise is throwing Sidra under the bus. Now, whether or not Sidra said this stuff, that's, to me, neither here nor there, although it's a lie. We know it's not true, that these things did not happen. But the fact is that if Sidra had said this, why is Louise putting this out to everybody? She should be keeping her mouth shut. That has nothing to do with the case.
Yeah, only if she's
but
trying
this is
to get...
how she is proving David's guilt to all the unsuspecting people. And see, now that we have the journal, we know for a fact that David did not talk to Kamel about quitting her job. She just up and quit it one day, and David was shocked.
Yeah.
He writes about it. He's like, oh my gosh, she quit her job. It wasn't, oh my gosh, she quit her job. I can't believe she did it. It worked. No, it was just out of the blue.
It took him by surprise.
And see, everybody in the documentary was saying that he coerced her to do it. And then he was happy about it because he won. And that's an absolute lie.
Yeah,
he had no idea.
Yeah, he in fact he talks about supporting her and not, making sure that there will be enough money for the family, and that he wanted to support whatever it was his wife wanted to do. But that doesn't bode well for the narrative.
Yeah. And then she started doing, I believe, online counseling and I guess personal sessions. But I'm not exactly sure because I had assumed that she quit like early fall. But this was back in like May, late May, when she quit the practice. And then so I know that she kept leaving for appointments and stuff like that, but I'm not exactly sure if she was just on her own at that time. I don't have very much information. So, just going off of what the journal had to say. And the corset thing, I've always thought that was weird. So, anyway. Greg?
I know. Did we lose him? His microphone is muted. Or no,
Oh,
it's
he might.
no. The other one. The other thing is, maybe he's there now.
I'm here.
Okay.
Okay.
Sorry, I just had to step out. I
We're
was
like
listening.
starting to get
though.
dead air.
No, I was listening there. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. The corset thing, like you said, yeah, I think that is kind of strange too. Have you guys ever heard of something called Spanx?
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
maybe it's like an early version of that. You know, women just kind of use it to kind of keep their body in shape or something, or you know what I mean? I don't know. So,
Well, she might have been having back pain, and if she had used it before while she was pregnant with Rania, and maybe she tweaked her back or something with all the exercises that they were always doing because they loved to exercise together, maybe it helped her. I mean, we're just kind of, grabbing at things here, but, it makes sense.
sure. I mean, and I think that's what this group is really trying to do is they're trying to plant those seeds, and Tony has proof of that later here too. They're trying to plant those seeds to get you to go down false trails.
Yeah.
And I don't, anyone that has happened to, I don't want you to feel, don't feel bad, man. People fall for that stuff. There's nothing wrong with it, but it's about what you do with it once you realize that it's not true, that it's all fake, that people have been lying to you. I said this years ago. People don't like to be lied to. If you lied to them, these are the consequences. You get a guy like Tony and he doesn't agree with us, probably doesn't like us, I don't know. But these are the type of things that happen. This is why you just need to be honest, be truthful. There's nothing wrong with saying, hey man, I think David Crowley is guilty. I can't prove it, but I think it. We get that stuff. I totally get that. I understand that point. I was there. I wanted to believe it, but when I looked, I was like, wait a minute, why? Why do I believe it? Oh, because of the the FEMA thing, the police. Oh, here we go again. The conspiracies, blah blah blah. But take all that stuff out of it. Take all of this stuff out of it, and just like look at the facts, not the fiction. Look at the documents. Look at what all of these documents say, and I know that it takes time. Even have a guy here like Tony. He's read my book. The purpose of my book was so that people would understand why David is not guilty. With Tony, I totally failed. He still read my book. He took the time to read the book, and he still believes David Crowley is guilty. I can't do anything. I can't help him anymore. There's no need for me to bash him or for me to talk smack about him or to go after him or call him a clown or do anything that these people did that Tony obviously trusted with certain documents and certain stuff that he didn't trust us with, So it's just, these are the type of things that can happen. Just be a good person. Just tell people what you believe. Stand by those beliefs and don't play any games. There's really no need to it. So, this old thing where she said David was resentful of Rania, that he never wanted children. Now, those are the type of things that I believe Sidra was fed a lot of false stuff. I don't believe Sidra looked at a lot of things, because when I um, conversed with her, it didn't sound like she really knew a lot, and she didn't really want to know about certain things. But on other things, she was very curious about. So she was fishing for certain stuff. But I always felt like some of the Gray State goons were kind of feeding her a lot of false stuff, and they were sheltering her and kind of like a gatekeeper, right? Pretty much doing what this group does to these people. Hey man, we're here to help. We're with the family. This is Sean Wright, Mason, Hendricks. These guys. They told us it's the same script. It's the exact same script. Hey, we're just trying to help this family, blah, blah, blah. Look at their public posts. If you go back and look at I know this is going to be in a long podcast, way, way in the future. One of my last chapters of my book, covers a lot of that. Hopefully it covers a lot of that stuff. But it's like, they were pretty much trying to tell us, look, the family is grieving. You guys, if you want to be respectful towards this family, don't bring up any of this stuff. Don't talk about this stuff. And I think Sidra kind of fell into that line too. I think a lot of people did. And I think at some point, just like with Tony here, man, everybody is going to realize these people are full of crap. They are not your friends. They do not care about you. They do not care about this family. They are there to play games. They are there to make sure that you don't look at the facts. They are the fiction. And that's it.
I would like to add something about the journal
Yes.
that I found extremely interesting. Even though David did discuss working on the script, he didn't really discuss any conspiracy theories or the collapse of society. Nothing like that, really. He focused on researching and writing and setting goals for himself.
Mm-hmm.
Lots of self-help. Lots of talking about he and Camille and his struggles as a parent. A soldier who had left, was stop-lost, which when he refers to himself being kidnapped and having PTSD, it's in reference to the stop-loss. He says he wasn't injured on duty and he didn't see things that made him have PTSD on duty. It was the fact that they held him over there against his will. And that's what he's referring to, because I think it's April or early May that he starts to talk about it. But then later in June, he explains it in detail. And once you read it, you're like, oh, that makes complete sense.
Right.
So, I mean, the guy had things he was working on.
Yeah.
And he wasn't perfect. But they said earlier, neither of us are. None of us are.
That's right. That's right. And we're not trying to be. I think that's the whole difference. There's no, oh, well, we're just going to, our whole group is going to just be calling people out on, things that they get wrong or things that we don't like or blah, blah, blah. It's like, wait a minute, the purpose here is to either prove David Crowley did it or he didn't. That's what it really should be. Any group or any people that take the focus off of that, it's like, well, you're kind of distracting from what the real goal is here. Why would you do that? If you really care about this family, if you really care about this case, that doesn't make sense, and it's going to raise red flags. There are people out there that are watching this, that are listening to this. Maybe they don't, maybe not live, but they will hear this, that know David, that know Kamel. And the other thing that we keep hearing is that there's some type of pact that not only did David do this, but Kamel did this too.
Yeah, and there's no proof of that. But Greg, let's just finish what
Okay.
he has on the website because we're all getting exhausted.
Okay, sorry. Okay, so Luis Gibson, yeah, so he said Cidra's friend said something about David being on mushrooms once and being mad. We already talked about that. So Luis Gibson thinks Jason Allen leaked the scripts to Dan Hennon. She says Jason Allen is a douchebag. Does she know Jason Allen? Does she know something we don't know? Danny Mason rides off others' talents. David didn't like wing
I can't
distract.
hear you.
You can't hear me?
All I hear is Catherine typing.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Yeah, talk a little louder, please, Greg. Or move your mic closer.
I would, but there are people here sleeping too, so
Oh,
it's okay.
Sorry.
That's okay. I will move the mic. Is this any better? I'm gonna move the mic right up to here. Okay. David didn't like Wing distracting from his plans. I don't know what that. She mean Rania? I don't know what that means. Who's Wing? I would assume that means Rania. It seems like all this is like she's basically trying to show Tony why David didn't like Rania. She's pretty much trying to say David did not like his own daughter and killed her. When we have, if you look at the sloppymentary, if you watch only one part of that piece of crap documentary, watch where David and his daughter are on a tire swing and watch their interaction right there, okay? That is a father who loves his daughter. That's
and a little girl who loves her dad. And
That's
she's like,
right.
"Look,
Amen.
Daddy."
Amen.
You know, it's like,
Yep. That should have been at the end of the film. That's how I would have closed the film out, right there.
yep.
And there's a part in the journal that really melted my heart. Basically, David says he wants to track down his lineage and Camel's lineage and I guess do like a tree and write the story of him and Camel and their families and give it to Ronnie when she graduates. And so, I mean, that's extremely special.
And that doesn't sound like a father who doesn't like his child.
Yeah, he is being extremely thoughtful, trying to do something for her for the future.
Right.
I know that this was either June or July, but
Yep.
it doesn't matter.
No, that's a
he doesn't
big.
resent.
No, that's a big thing where you can see he's not only planning for his future, he's planning for her future too.
Mm-hmm.
For her 18th birthday, and then you're going to tell us a couple months later he decides to kill her? No. I mean, all of the evidence that you see in this Day One journal proves that David didn't do this. I mean, if there's nothing in here, if you read the Day One journal and you think that David did it, you obviously already have some preconceived stuff that you already want to believe that David Crowley is guilty there. There's nothing in there. The cops also say that too. So anyone who reads the Day One journal and thinks that, that proves David did it, I don't personally understand that. I just don't understand. Everyone is free to believe whatever they want. This is the greatest country ever. We have freedom. Believe whatever you want, but don't try to tell me that because that's not going to work on me. Definitely.
It's like they're going to warp David's worst days ever into the actual reason why he snapped in December. Some of these worst days that he had were in July and June.
Right.
And yes, he's down sometimes. Who doesn't get down? And he does admit that he deals with mood swings. But, I don't know him personally. So it just seemed like he had a lot of stress. And he and Kamal were trying to work through things. And obviously through the journal, they were definitely working through things. And they seem to be in sync. He writes that numerous times. So.
Yeah, I mean, I've never come across any soldier that served for this country that has not had stress and things that they will carry for the rest of their life. But what I read in the Day One Journal is David trying to, first of all, to recognize those problems and then to get over them.
Mm.
And that's what I see when I read the
And that
full
was
journal.
and that was the old David who was trying to shed
Right.
those feelings, those emotions, so he could be a better person. And you see that with all his searches and the different things that he was doing with yoga and meditation. He's trying to help himself become a better father, husband, and person.
Right. And that's the first step is admitting your faults. Most people don't do that on paper. They don't do that, you know, they don't type that stuff out, you know. So it takes a really strong person, first of all, to really do that. And you can tell reading the journal, David planned on doing something with this journal too. You know, I think he was, you know, once he made it big and made it famous and got rich and all that stuff, I think he was going to go back and use this journal as a documentary, or maybe have Rania use it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I think there was a lot of reason why he was doing this Day One Journal, to document everything. It's more planning for his future. You're not going to do all this stuff and then kill yourself all of a sudden. And if you do, you're going to delete I don't know. I mean, I really don't know. That's all guessing. But she also, or Tony also says about Louise Gibson that Louise said that David didn't want any more kids. Rania was a little slow. I don't know where that came from either. I mean,
I did not get that from any of the journal stuff.
Yeah, I didn't really get that either. Kamel was David's #1 fan. Kamel was more upset with her parents for not listening to her views, getting chemo, the dietary things. Yeah, I think that's definitely evident in the Day One journals. Felt offended that they wouldn't listen to her views. So, I mean, it's like she can speculate on all of this different stuff here, but nobody else can. You know, oh, there's something wrong. We're disrespecting the families and everything if we even talk about all this stuff. Like, screw you. You know, whatever. You know, everybody, you can talk about whatever you want to talk about. You know, believe whatever you want to. But man, I mean, when it really comes down to, if you're going to try to act like you have facts, you better have them. And if you don't have them, don't be shocked when people call you out, which is exactly what's happening here. She says, he says, sorry, this is Tony now, getting back to it. They told Sean at the time, but he didn't think it was odd. If someone isn't prepared to hear you out, why bother with them? Well, consider the source with that. I mean, the fact that they have Sean in the group at all is like the biggest thing that discredits anything that they have, anything that they do. If they don't know who this guy is, they're just not looking. They're not researchers. Research this guy. Run a background check on this guy. Find what you'll find what you need to know about Sean Wright. David and Kamel nearly split in early 2014. Again, you know, speculation. We don't have anything like that. We know that there's been things said in news articles. So this is all just repeating what all of those hit pieces said. Whether it's true or not, we know that they stayed together and they were working it out. And David talks about that in his Day One journal. So it's just really odd, the things that they want to make sure that you understand. It's all a mind fuck. It's just subconsciously just, you know, get you to just, you know, oh, this, that, oh, okay, well, maybe he's guilty. You know, I mean, these are just zombies, and they just want to turn you into a zombie too. Don't fall for it, people. Please don't fall for this crap. Do your own research. Come to your own conclusion. If you come to the same conclusion like Tony did, Tony came to the exact same conclusion that these fiction groups did, you know, but at least he did his own research. You know, he's our articulate. He hasn't really expressed why he thinks David Crowley is guilty or anything. He just says that he agrees with him. But at least he's done all of that, and it doesn't sound like he's playing any of the games that this fiction group is playing. So that's something. There's something to be said about that. David makes an effort to be more empathetic and understand. They pull closer. All stuff from the whole journal, everything. I mean, this is all stuff people read it for yourself. Read the journal. Just David's dark places was in June-ish. He thought he was a god. I didn't see anything like that. But here's the main thing. When you're going to tell... Go ahead.
There was one part, I think, in July, and I believe that he was euphoric over the whole getting to speak with the producers and everything. And so he kind of mentions at that point that he could do anything, that he's a god.
He's a god, okay.
And I think, if you just got called out to LA to speak with producers about something you worked extremely hard about, and you had all types of other spin-offs for this idea, and you literally could see it all in front of you, everything laid out of how your future is going to be, you would feel a little invincible too.
Mm-hmm. Tom, I mean, anyone who thinks Tom Lydon is a decent person, I definitely gotta question that one, because if you look at just the way Tom Lydon reported on this case, man, I don't know. I'm just not seeing it. Like, we're living in two parallel worlds, if that's the case.
I have to do the mommy voice, Greg.
Okay.
Now we have to ask Tom Lydon's kitty cat how he feels. I think a kitty cat would think he's decent.
That guy, somebody better call PETA or somebody. That guy should not have any cats at all. He should not be allowed to be anywhere near any cats.
Anybody look at his Twitter page, you'll see he's a slime.
Oh, he's so gross.
Well, let's just talk about that. Let's talk about what tweet are you guys specifically talking about here? Tom Lydon said he wanted to F a cat. Is that what we're talking about?
Yes.
Is that what we're going for? Okay. So I know we have people listening, watching this that have cats. So imagine if Tom Lydon said he wanted to do that to your cat. Okay.
And this is a real tweet, people, and it's still on his Twitter account, so you can still find it.
And he's still with Fox 9 News for some reason. He's still there, and he's still reporting. And of course, he just happens to be the guy who was able to lob a bunch of softball questions to the Apple Valley police. Sean wanted him to report real news. I mean, to me, that tells me that Sean was trying to tell him, hey, you're not reporting real news. Can you report real news? I mean, I don't understand this. What does this mean? Like, what does that mean to report real news? I think what Sean really wanted was for Tom Lydon to agree with them that David was guilty and make sure that you don't stray from that, which is very similar to what Sean Wright had told me too. Report real news. Sean Wright's version of real news is that David Crowley is guilty. He killed everybody and himself. He went into a dark place, and Kamel did this too. In Sean Wright's view, that is the real news, that there was a pact. Well, to everybody else, maybe not so much. Eric Nelson is a good man. Again, here we have another thing. If you watch Eric Nelson's documentary, you can decide for yourself what you believe about Eric Nelson. And this is the whole thing. It's all about character, right? It's not about, well, what do they do that proves. It's all about the character. Tom Lydon is a decent person. Eric Nelson is a good man. I don't give a shit about any of that. What did they say about this case?
I need to interject.
Okay.
Eric Nelson took recordings and edited them. He cut and pasted to make these two feel like they were insane. He picked and chose which journal entries would be taken out of context throughout the whole journey of the documentary and manipulate the viewers. This is not a decent person. A decent person would have done everything. They would have revealed everything about this family instead of making them the villains. I mean, when Dad is sitting there reading some of those journal entries, they are highly out of context.
Right. And now we have that proof.
And yeah, and it's very sickening. And then, like I said about the so-called rapture video or whatever, if you put headphones on or you listen it with earbuds, you will hear every time they stop the tape and sliced. It's there. You can hear the clicking. But, you know, he's a decent person.
He's a decent person. Well, we know that he didn't do right by the family because if he did, then Kamel's family would not have had all of their footage taken out. So he did not do right by the family. So I don't know what that means exactly, but I don't see anywhere where he did right by this family. He accused the family's son, if you're talking about David's side, he accused their son of being this crazy person who killed everybody and himself, and then, you know, he also tried to throw Kamel under the bus too, so he didn't do right by their side of the family. So to say that he did right by the family, I don't know what that means. I really don't. He did not make anybody look good. Nobody looks good in that film, except me, maybe. I'd say me, maybe Dan too. Maybe Dan. But, you know, we're the only ones who really look good in that film because we're the only ones who are telling the truth in that film. I would say David did too, but they've taken a lot of his stuff out of context. You know, they had, you know, we gave, Dan and I we gave them as much data as we had at that time. We didn't have much, but we had enough for them to put in there. If they really wanted to give the other side, they would have put everything we told them about the bullet hole, item 57, which I believe is this one of the smoking guns. They would have put a lot of things that we were talking about, the facts. There's a reason why there's only 2 or 3 minutes of our footage in there when they recorded over 1 hour, not including our live broadcast that Dan and I did that same day, live, no edits, while they recorded that too. And they put like 2 or 3 minutes in there. But yet they put Joseph Seaton, Sean Wright, all these losers, all these guys who David was trying to distance himself from. They put all of them in there. And these are all these people that thought David was guilty. There was no balance in there. He didn't do right by anybody. Not even himself. I'm glad he lost $40,000. He should have lost more.
And what he did to you and Dan was he took you, highly edited your interviews, and then twisted what you guys were saying, taking it out of context.
Right.
It was like almost gotcha moments to make you guys sound insane.
Yes. So they had looked at what Sean Wright. They had looked at what I had said about Sean Wright. Obviously, they had the text message is between Sean and I because they were very focused on that. They wanted me to talk more about him. They wanted the quote that I gave to Sean, which was the credibility quote, where I told him point blank, I don't care, because he was telling me, don't do this, don't keep going forward because of your credibility. And I told him, I do not care about my credibility. That's the quote that they wanted. That's the quote that they got. That's the quote that they used. And that's fine, because I know that real people are going to not take that out of context. They're going to realize that what that really means, that if you're really serious about this case, and if you are a real journalist, if you really want to find the truth, if you're a researcher, you don't care about your credibility. You don't withhold stuff. You don't hold back because of your credibility, because somebody threatens you, that they will sabotage your credibility. You go forward because that's what the truth tells you to do. You go where the truth is. The credibility means nothing to me, and it still doesn't. What matters to me is getting to the truth. And that's where we are. That's why we've gotten this far, and that's why we will continue to keep going on. 3 hours later, even though I really only wanted to go 1 hour here, but we've gone very, very long here. So I really appreciate everybody who has hung in there. I know both of you, it's 12 a.m. here.
Fairly late.
Yeah, it's one here, two
The
for
sun is
her,
coming
three
up.
for everybody on the East Coast.
Well, at least all of our British people are, they're just waking up, and, it's like 7 a.m., 8 a.m., so it's a morning show for them.
Well, there's not much to go, right? You can just read through the rest of this real quick.
I believe so.
Please.
Okay, let's see. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. I mean, a lot of this stuff is just not, relevant. Unless you
David
guys...
could be a twat. Is that it? Did you want me to get through that?
Which part?
That David could be a twat.
David could be a twat. Tension with David and
The
Kamel.
garage sale.
Oh, the garage sale, yeah.
He could be kind.
Yeah, they focused a lot on the garage sale. The early news reports focused a lot on that, and I didn't really think there was too much to that garage sale, but apparently that was a big deal. I don't really know what that was about. David would go to the garage and smoke weed, MD smoke, and tell her to fuck herself, go look after the kid. I don't know where that's coming from, so... I mean,
Yeah,
unless it's coming from Kamel or from David, who knows?
This is just hearsay.
It's all hearsay, and it could be things that people are fed. That's it, So I don't know. I don't know what relevance any of that would really have, but you can see what she's trying to do. She's just trying to get people to think that there is some distance, that there is something here when there really isn't. There's nothing there,
She's trying to show emotional abuse.
Right. And then ignoring all of the facts, ignoring all of the documents. There's nothing in here about the documents. There's nothing in here about the BCA reports, about the DNA evidence. I haven't seen anything so far here.
It's all hearsay.
Yeah, I
mean,
I was hoping to see, well, hey, they've, David did it, blah, 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 but it's nothing like that. It's all just rumors, speculation, all things to just cast doubt, and it sounds like Tony realized, man, you guys are full of crap.
Mm-hmm.
Now here's an interesting one, where she says Sean, Hendricks, Peck, and Adam Schaubauer all got taken under David's dad's wing, had TV series planned, and documentary took Sean 2 years to convince David to do a supporting documentary, The Rise. This is why Sean Wright did not want The Rise put out there. They rough cut because they wanted to make money off of it. And eventually they realized you can't do that because we have it in David's own words not to do that. This was damage control. And what this Gibson person is doing, what some of these other people are doing, is trying to ride the coattails of damage control. So while they may say that Danny August Mason is riding the coattails of David Crowley, they're doing something even worse. They're riding the coattails of people that are riding the coattails that are riding the coattails of David Crowley. And they don't even realize that. They're right there with them. Except Danny August Mason was actually there. These people are just riding coattails, adding things that they cannot prove. But here's where she says, this is a big one here. So you tell me which Joe she's talking about here, because it's Joe was tampering with, and this is a direct quote from Gibson too. Joe was tampering with stuff and found something about the Gun Plus store. Okay, first of all, tampering with stuff. I mean, why would you need to be tampering with anything? There's no need to be tampering with anything. Sounds like a crime to me.
I believe it was Joe T.
I mean, and found something about the Gun Plus store. I mean, is that
I don't know.
the Gun Plus store? Is that the one document that the police gave us that shows that she purchased the gun? We don't really know what it means. She doesn't even know what it means, if anything. We haven't got anything with the Celebrate. We're just sending the group. We're just sending the Justice group into a spin. So it's there's their goal. So everybody that is in our group, in the Justice for David Crowley and Family Facebook group, if you've joined that group for whatever reason, that is their goal. It's not to find the truth. It's to send you into a spin. Why would you want to join a group like that?
I honestly don't care what they have. I'm working on my own to get my own stuff. So they can sit there and pretend to have whatever.
I mean, she pretty much, she's admitting they don't have anything, but they're trying to send the group into a spin, and it's not working, though. That's the other thing. It's not working. But they get off on trying to send people into a spin. It's just like, well, why don't you try to get people to understand why you believe David Crowley is guilty? Focus your efforts there. That's why you're frauds. That's why you're phonies. That's why nobody takes you seriously. That's why you fail. Because you're not focused on that. You're focused on a spin. You're focused on these lies. You're not focused on truth. That's why nobody takes you seriously. They may act like they do. They may be fishing you. So then there's something here about the disclosure. It all depends as to what you want to disclosure. Then you come up with multiple scenarios. Most involve having to tell white lies. So, I mean, they're admitting they tell lies. They call them white lies. You guys have heard that before. Santa Claus, that's a white lie.
Why are they telling lies?
I mean, yeah, why tell lies?
What was the point of that?
I don't know.
Are they telling their group members lies?
I don't know. And sending them on a wild goose. Yeah, I mean, why? They want to send their members on a wild goose chase. It's right there. Or coming up with the backstory to send them off the scent. Here's the other thing, to send them off the scent, because they know that we are on the right track. They know David Crowley is not guilty. Here it is right here. They want to send people off of the scent that, oh, okay, David Crowley is innocent. That's the scent that they're talking about here, that she's talking about. That's the purpose of their group. That's why nobody should join them. That's why nobody should entertain. I mean, I get it. You know, people join groups, you know, they want to see what's going on. That's why they can't maintain people in their group. You know, that's why this group continues to grow and theirs doesn't. Their group is toxic. I mean, if this is what they do...
Yeah, you're right. It is toxic, and Tony just proved it.
Yeah.
They have no information. They lie to their members, and anybody who's within this group, you need to confront your admins and demand the truth, because you've been lied to. They've withheld information from you. And they're lying to you about information that they say that they have. So
they have no problem sending you on a wild goose chase and coming up with the backstory to send you off of the scent. Powerful words right there. Man, it doesn't get any more clearer right there. You got burned. You got burned. Yeah. Yeah. And with your own words, and there it is. That is the truth. What you're seeing here, Tony presented you the truth. Okay, final thoughts, final words. Everybody's still with us. Wow, somehow we still have 9 people in the chat, in the live chat. I don't know how. I'm really sorry. I did not expect for us to go this long. But, I mean, just this last sentence, just read this paragraph here. I mean, this pretty much this is why nobody pays attention to them.
It's all distractions.
Catherine, any final words?
No, I'm sorry. I have mentally dropped off
That's
this
okay.
a while ago.
You've been killing it in the chat room there too.
I
so
know.
that's
We're all
great.
talking.
I
It's just
appreciate
silly
that.
because I just I just can't keep going. It's just I guess my final thoughts is that I think Tony did an amazing job. I think he called them out. He laid it out. He showed his proof, and they can't backpedal out of this. So, I just hope everybody goes to the website and looks up or downloads these files and reads them for themselves.
Okay.
I
All right.
second that. I'm tired. Can you wrap this up, please?
All right, I'm going to shut this down. Thank you all for joining us. I really appreciate that. You can always watch the replay, and until next time, and there will be a next time.
Thank you.
Until then.
Thank you, everybody in the chat. Bye.